if you can win both hot drops here today, then you're coming out with at least 4 points in each of those games. That could be a pretty big difference maker.
And that's also big because in revenge, if JDG does win those 2 hot drops, that makes it a lot more complicated for T1 to stay in the top positions.
Yeah, so for T1 today, you know, talking to their coach Sonic before the match here, he was saying he thinks they just need like 20 points. Like somewhere in that neighborhood, and they'll be safe to be one of those top 5 teams. So that's all they really need. So for T1, they can afford to go for these hot drops still. They don't care because they just need a couple of okay games and they're going to be fine. So that's really their mindset is we don't, you know, we're going to keep doing these hot drops if they're going to do them. We're in the pole position. You guys are the ones who are chasing. You guys need to prove something. We're basically good to go. And here's the scary thing. Let's say T1 wins pretty handily and 1 or 2 of those hot drops. They're going to start targeting, dude.
If you can't hear what's going on behind us, there's a couple of different chants for different like squads that are going on. We've had Sharper that had one happen a second ago. Interestingly enough, I think we just heard one. Somebody was trying to do one for Twisted, and I don't know if Twisted actually heard it or not, but it's interesting because like again, the Thai fans are just supporting everybody. Sure, they have a little bit of bias for their region, but they just really love watching the game, and they're in that category of just kind of wanting to see everybody to succeed. Well, you know what? I'm kind of in that same boat, but somebody's got to go home today. Let's go ahead and jump into Miramar to start it off and find out who's going to be setting the pace.
All right, buckle up. Plane path, wow, that is really south. Once you guys get a view of it after we take a look at our sick Porsches.
But still on path for Chumacera.
It's right on Chumacera. I mean, so this is, yeah, I love that our observers are showing this because it is very likely to be another brawl here. And still, you've got, look at the kills. I mean, because T1 is just dominating, not only in the hot drops, but then as the game goes on, they play pretty well. You've got EN and Type up here along with Tanvu and Zenith as some of your top killers on Miramar. So this has been a great map for these Korean teams.
Well, on day 1 for Evan Pochon.
Yeah, they dropped off a bit after that, but they've got some work to do today. We'll say that. We'll see if they can bounce back after a pretty rough day 2.
Eyeing out, see how everything goes. JDG did pull off.
Oh, they're not in.
So that's
wow.
Closer to 4 angry in.
I'm shocked.
I mean, again, I'm not mad about this. If you want to get out of the bottom 3, I think that this is the smarter choice. It does mean the fact that you're having to relinquish, and T1's going to be very content with that. But T1, how do they handle not fighting early? It's like they get a warm-up match before they get into the actual match every single game.
Well, they're going to be not too disappointed with that circle to start. Yeah, I'm very surprised that JDG didn't continue to go for this. It just feels like at this point you're pot committed. Well, why not? But you know, I get it. You still have a chance to get out. If you can have a 60-point day here today, you're guaranteeing yourself probably a way out of that bottom 3, but they're so far behind right now. They have to have an explosive final day here at PGC Groups.
So we talk about the circle pretty regularly. We've got a lot of dead zone that's going to be in the very far west. Yes, we also still have prison on the island, our drumstick down to the south. Already inside of good positions. Of course, T1, Chumacera, they're going to have easy access to the high ground just to the south positioning. Irena's running kind of a 2-1-1 split across it. Alcadzia, that's right on the cusp to hitting that bottom 3, but also has potentially the legs to stretch up, maybe even into the top 5, given how compacted this is. Inside of the circle, good start.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I really think Alcadzia needs to just have a steady day. They don't need to go crazy. Just, you know, 30 points, probably good enough. We need to see them pick it up just a little bit. And, you know, I was talking real quick with Roth and Rello beforehand, and they said, we're not just going to see you this weekend, we're going to see you next weekend too. So they are looking at that grand finals, even though the group stage has been a little bit challenging for them. But let's see if they can maybe right some of their wrongs. This is a decent circle for them to potentially do that.
Well, there's a lot of dead zone in the circle because most people aren't going to go down to prison, so that's kind of a no man's land. We've got unplayable to the west. Alcadzia has been doing this 4-man split in the early stages that's given them some territory control early. I'm curious because it looks like they're starting to set up for that yet again. That feels like it could be a double-edged sword with this much area that's kind of unplayable.
Yeah, and this has been kind of a more wild lobby where teams are willing to take some more risks, maybe more than usual. Even 17's already driving a bit close to one of those players you were talking about. So we'll see about that. Geekay, another team that we need to be focused on here today quite a bit because of their position. They're the ones at the top of the bottom three.
I mean, the only two teams we really don't need to be focused on are the Expendables and Twisted, but they're the Expendables and Twisted, so we're going to be focused on them just based off of their own merit.
Yeah.
Everybody else still has like massive stuff to play for with these last 6 games. This is pretty ludicrous moving into our last day.
No, you're absolutely right, Matt. I mean, it is still very, very up in the air. You know, Twisted and the Expendables both have 3 chicken dinners each here in the first 12 games, so they've been dominating this lobby.
I think the most disappointing squad for me so far has been 17. In 11th place, this is a PGS champion from this year.
You're absolutely right.
And they just can't seem to find the meta in specifically this group. And now they've done their research. They know Al-Qadsia tends to run in solos, but Al-Qadsia actually has some members pretty close to each other this time, at least a duo. Is 17 going to be able to come in and steal this, or are we going to see Al-Qadsia defense? It looks like they're trying to get to vehicles. This might be bad timing, and oh, just a half second earlier than 17.
Yeah, they're going to get Cowboy in there, and I think they're just barely going to get away. I think this is absolutely the right play here for Al-Qadsia.
But there's a new problem. Sharper has actually gotten very close to the other set of solos whenever we look at kind of the ravine down into the road to the other side. So if they're not careful, they find themselves sandwiched between 2 squads very early.
I think 17's chasing them a bit towards Brickyard. Brickyard's a really exposed position to be in. You know, the teams can get up on the hills around you and just rain fire down on you. Yes, there's that building in the middle. You can get some level of safety in, but it's still not comfortable.
Well, there's only 1 point between these 2 different squads, and so just doing any damage, 17, being the aggressor coming in and at least forcing off a bit of game plan, anything that you can get when you're this close in a very hazardous position is massive for you.
Exactly. I mean, I think I'll always say this, that, you know, I want to see teams come in and play with confidence. You know, not recklessness, but confidence. Just, you know, make sure you know when you're in the advantageous position and take advantage of that.
The more formulaic your game can go according to what you're planning to do, the better position you're in. So if you're forcing other teams to react to your presence, their game plan is now thrown off. You hear it every single interview. Hey, what do you think about these other teams? Or do you have any rivals? And everybody's always like, no, we just play ourselves.
Yep.
That's the core component to PUBG, is you have your plan where you're going second, third. You can see when we see the markers brought up, where we see teams, they've got like 40 of them just kind of thrown around everywhere where they want to go. They already know and have the plans set up for how they're wanting to maneuver through every single stage with multiple variables.
Exactly, and it's all about how you can execute, and you're spot on with that. That's why so many teams just focus on that kind of thing, as the Freaks did get a whiff of the fact that Twisted was up here. Now they're getting a little bit of bullets, but actually Perfectix, yeah, takes quite a bit of damage there. Salute hits some nice shots, and the Freaks are just going to move over towards El Pozo.
It's day 3 of group stage. Day 1 is always slow for the Freaks. Day 3 is where it goes, every point around me is mine. So solid start, hitting some damage. They are kind of gate kept, not really. They can go more west out of Pozo and kind of go right up against the zone wall, but there's some territory over there to work with, not a lot.
Yeah, I think for the Freaks here, you just need to be kind of tracking Twisted a little bit. Yes, the western road is going to be open, but that's not where you want to be necessarily in this circle. You don't want to start west. I mean, yes, occasionally circles end up over there, but...
Well, you don't want to have your back up against a zone wall where you can't go anywhere with a field directly in front of you and Twisted on the other side of the field. Oh, that seems like a perfectly fine place to be, right at circle 1.
No, it's yeah, what could go wrong? I mean, you know, like, yeah, Twisted just, you know, the best team on the planet, maybe. Them and the Expendables looking that way. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick, when you think about it, you know, our PGS winners this year, you were talking about this earlier, is 17, BB team, Twisted, VP. The only team that isn't looking like they're going to get that direct ticket to the grand finals, 17.
And we are looking at a much different meta. We had I guess, a slower pacing in some of the earlier PGSs, very centered meta. We still have that in some regards, but I mean, we've just seen a lot more aggression in the earlier stages. You know, like the committal to hot drops, yeah, all that other stuff. But when you get squads like the Expendables in play, T1, that's a lot more on their rampage firefighting style, it's made it a lot more chaotic, specifically in the midsections. And it almost feels like 17's a bit lost inside of that. They don't know where to find their successes at. This is a squad that can fight in the mid-game very efficiently, but it feels like they don't know exactly what they're after at that stage right now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they've got the most solid plan sometimes for what'll happen if the circle hard shifts away from them, when they can't just, you know, lock it down in the center and sort of play that style that they want to play. They don't seem to have answers because everybody's so point hungry on the edges now. Teams starting to understand that you need to be fighting for that space.
It's a squad in 17 that always drops middle map. But we've also been seeing a lot of very hard shifted circles. Like this circle does not have Picado in it at the start. So I feel like that's kind of put 17 in a more awkward spot where they're having to do, I guess, bigger rotates than they're used to in circles 2 and 3.
I think you're right. I mean, it is a bit difficult. And you'll see them try to send it center, and they usually end up losing players along the way on those shifts you're talking about. This is a little bit awkward for Rello.
So it's a 2-1-1 split. D does have some vision. The other members for Alcadzia could maybe take some shots to defend, but I think that Rello's realizing that he's got some friends a bit closer. Batulans, everybody else has this kind of scouted out right now. I didn't see who was taking those shots in.
I think it's the Freaks. I think it was the Freaks that just shot into Twisted, so that might give Rello, the information he needs to at least have a fighting chance here.
Well, should be able to run a couple of shots now coming out in support. That's going to be Perfectix very far away, trying to make sure that they at least chew Rello out of point, and that gives high ground control and a lot of vision for Twisted. And we know Twisted can exploit that. Yeah,
for sure. You know, at the end of the day, Twisted would have loved the point, but it's not the end of the world. Now they've got some high ground. They're in like classic Twisted Minds position. Exactly what in the world is that?
Oh, all right. Down to drumstick for a section of this. What was no man's land becomes maybe our last salvage. This is weird. So the very, I guess, southeastern area does have a couple of compounds, but whenever we look right along the river, this is kind of an open area that not a lot of teams are going to want to play. This means that the hillsides where we see south of Chumacera and around where T1 is at, very, very vital.
Absolutely. This is going to be difficult for a lot of these teams. And this is a pretty similar circle to what we saw on day one, actually, on Miramar. But it's going to be a little bit different because it didn't start as like far south. So it's a lot more difficult for these teams to figure out how they're going to make rotations around, because with those mountains around there and those compounds on the roads, it's so much more difficult to get your rotations into this circle.
And look, JDG thought maybe they could steal a bit more down to the south. They can't do it. FN Pochon's already there, so JDG's kind of stuck next to Valdemar. Not a lot of options for them to work with. Geeke, they were trying to encroach a bit more into the west. They still have some options to play from, but JDG is already firmly contained in Valdemar, and they know it now. They know that they can go west to maybe, and if this goes south, by some miracle, maybe they have bridge control, but that's about all JDG's got.
Yeah, there is a very unlikely world where this goes down to the prison, but probably not going to happen. So you're expecting this to end up kind of like we saw, again, on day one, where the circle finished more near Chumacera than not, but it doesn't have to. There's a lot of open space in this part of the map in terms of where circles can go, so a lot of different things can happen.
But if we do see a compression into the west, we might see a lot of squads just kind of have to go for salvage runs into Valdemar and just say, we got nothing else. We just got to go. Like, we might see Alcadzia do something along those lines. There are a couple of compounds along the road. I wouldn't be surprised if they lead into that. They spot out Jedi. Going to go for easy pickup onto him. Should be able to get the flush as well. Yep, that's 1 point, and that puts him tied up with 17.
Yeah, every point so valuable for Alcadzia. That gets them just further and further away from that cutoff line. That's a nice pickup. Find one out in the open. You're in the circle. Got a little bit of stuff to work with. I was wondering if Furia and the Freaks were going to dust up, but Furia actually ended up pulling up short here. The Freaks continue on their western edge, and it's actually going to be Zakraken who's going to be using the eyes from the sky to keep track. Oh, that's a nice shot from Orca. This is another team who needs to do something big today.
He's got the scouting capabilities, but 4 angry men in their point, it doesn't feel good. They've got Orca behind them, of course, taking shots. They've got Orchid to the east of them, so that's not going to be confusing. Keep in mind, Orca to the north, Orchid to the east, and then they still have
कल का मैच शानदार था भाई.
So, interestingly enough, Gen G has got themselves kind of the remnants of Chumacera that since T1 opted into the opposing hillside to the west of this, Gen G actually has a very strong information gathering and control point to play from.
Yeah, no, they do. This is looking okay for Gen G in terms of a lot of different things. But again, Circle can go just about anywhere on the north side of the river. It's just very unlikely to go down to the...
कल का मैच शानदार थे.
Gen G going to be able to use some high ground, split out, do what they got to do. They desperately need points.
Valdemar situation, we do have Freaks that committed in.
122 पॉइंट.
Is now kind of inside the circle, but they're going to have to be careful because Twisted is wrapping on a western lay. They could bump into them. Posa's very caught up in taking shots, I believe, over at either Al-Qadsia. Ooh, so we keep Valdemar in. We still keep some water in play as well, but this feels like this has got to lean more in that Namiga for Angry Men area, maybe into GK or the fields a bit to the south of it.
Yeah, no, it's maybe going to end on that cliffside compound that's up there, and that's kind of where my eyes would be. But Namiga actually gets pushed out. They want to go a little bit down the hill. They're going to cede that territory over to 4AM on the move. Al-Qadsia, but they're getting tagged up a bit.
Early rotate past one section. JDG is going to follow. Sharper's also running down to the exact same area. So a couple of shots. Suze in some trouble and all by his lonesome. Going to toss.
Oh.
It's going to be very hard to hit off of the curve on the hillside. Does get some damage, but the assistant's going to come up from Escalusia on the other side.
He's got. Oh boy.
In some trouble.
Yeah, they tried to crash. They felt the pressure, and there were a bunch of teams already in the vicinity.
Oh no.
Grenade, but he's still going to win. Roth going to get the shots to go.
Oh, this has turned terrible. Finally, D manages to get it, but the cost is 3 members from his squad, and now he's just trapped in a very dangerous position.
Well, he only has December the 12th here right now. JDG probably a little timid based on the shots that Sharper was taking in here, and as well, the Freaks are on the hunt.
They need points of their own. They want to secure themselves in that top 5. JDG now being a solo.
क्या support मिला भाई जबरदस्त. Oh.
But Human's just better.
Human has a tough angle there, and he wins that. That is disgusting. What a grenade from Cold, though! Gets 2 with it.
Longhouse brutality coming in full effect. Cold all by his lonesome. Gonna go for the flushes. Remember, December 12th was going on the hunt after the last member for Al-Qadsia. New contenders approaching in Sharper on one side of this. This has gotten very, very awkward for everybody right next to the east end of Valdemar.
Oh, salute.
No.
Got the information relayed over from DL that he had lit up Cold. So you should be able to get Heaven at the very least. You only lose your IGL here as the Freaks. Not too bad.
So now D and December 12th, they're kind of like, hey, we're cool, bro. We're cool. You just get the second story. I'll get the first. Everything's chill for now. We don't want to get too involved. Furia, T1, they don't have too many options about
कल के ग्रेनेड भाई सब जब प्रेसिजन थे कल के ग्रेनेड फेंकने वाले टीम की टीम वाइप हो रही थी मजा आ गया भाई देखकर
They might be able to third party this fight based on where they were rotating in the blue, but opted to go a little bit more towards Valdemar, playing safe, just knowing that there's a bunch of teams fighting on the other side of the city, plenty of it left in the current circle. Kind of wait things out, plan out your next move. T1's E-end trying to find that flank angle, but he's being countered by Furia, backed off a little bit. Is that a
T1 just called an emergency pickup? I'm not mad about it because now with Furia in the position below them, this is kind of hard to get out of. So you could jump over, maybe leapfrog, but note to the south, we have the Expendables. Of course, this kind of went to the direction that we were expecting. But now, the focal point where that circle is means a lot of these teams that are trapped in the city have to compress all on top of each other, and D does get the kill on December 12th. So in the end, JDG does go out, and the problems continue to mount for our team at the bottom.
That's devastating for JDG. I mean, 3 points is just not good enough. It's not going to cut it at this phase, especially when you're down as far as they are on the leaderboard. T1 taking some damage there. A headshot connects, but they're going to try to drive off of this. Are they actually getting on that E pickup is my question, because that seems dangerous.
Oh, Freaks, you were just out in the open, and Perfectix couldn't quite manage to get the knock. But the information now is plenty to work with. Patulin's playing back near the bridge, actually getting some information, feeding that over to the rest of his squad as well. Freaks now just forced to collapse in. They're very trapped in point with Sharper on one side, and this is just going to be a dust-up that nobody can really avoid.
I like this maybe from Twisted. They're going to be under FN's gun sights, though, as they try to work the coast. I mean, there is a lot of rocks and other cliff faces to use as cover to hide with. To try to get into that next circle, or at the very least set yourself up for a bit of a gatekeep on all these teams that are fighting on this eastern side of Valdemar. So this isn't too bad. I like what Twisted's thinking here. Don't just try to bulldoze your way through the city proper. Find another avenue of attack.
It could be awkward because FN Pochon does have some vision on that coastline. Problem for FN Pochon is this. We've got the Expendables roaming very close. They don't want to stay too close to this, though, so they're going to try to use the hill, get a break line away. This is where we're seeing the western edge of the circle, so you can see it's going to be multi-tiered over there. Not too many different ways they can play around it. Delwyn and Calori's are going to be playing right along the coast, and that's going to make this kind of a little bit more complicated for what Twisted was wanting to accomplish. They wanted to get here first.
Yeah, and Calori's had to drop down off of this cliff face, which means he's stuck down here. There is not a lot of easy ways back up on this part of the map. You can see there's a little bit of a ledge on just to the left of your screen, but it's really tough to get up that rock side. There aren't many avenues to find ways through, as the Freaks are just holding, waiting. Gonna have to figure out what they want to do if they're gonna try to push a little bit further north, move away from Twisted and the Expendables, let them fight.
Here goes T1. They're sending it down the hillside. They did not take the emergency pickup just due to where Fury was positioned out a moment ago. They didn't feel good about it, so instead jump down, use the hills for some form of cover. E-Arena is going to be taking shots just to the east of them. That they do find a dip that is mildly comfortable. Issue is Nurens, the other side of E-Arena, knows that and could get in grenade range.
All right, here we go. The res actually came through here. The revive for the Freaks. They get Guman back in the game. He's parachuting in right now. I don't think he's going to be doing too hot when he lands, if he lands.
Oh, D. I mean, he saw the rotate, but he didn't want to take the shots just quite yet. Twisted, though. They're taking shots at the Expendables. This is going to open up more for Sharper. This does make the new circle pop up to the north. Valdemar going to get spicy just to the south. Now also going to get spicy. Twisted getting in some good shots right onto the Expendables, but they have to be careful. Batulin's down very far back behind, means he is unresable.
Yeah, absolutely. As the Expendables just can't handle what Twisted is bringing, and Twisted, with everybody else fighting behind them, has an open lane, direct path towards the Expendables, and it is getting dicey there. Phase 5 Blue ticks hard.
The only one alive is just Calori's so far away from this. That means Twisted Dog gets that multi-tiered area. They can look back onto Sharper, the Freaks, D the last one up for Al-Qadsia. Everybody around this weird spot. You can see Freaks, they know that there's somebody around here, but they don't know exactly how the setup's going to go. They're going to lean into some high ground, but it's going to start opening up more vision for Twisted. Peeks around both sides, getting complicated. Example, spots out DL.
Yeah, now Twisted basically dealt with the Expendables so they can turn it
Oh.
from behind.
Whoa, turns this back around. 5 points, big for Al-Qadsia.
Yeah, that is such a nice pickup here. What great salvage points from the young gun. And Lyrics looking for one, he's got it. Spyro sits down, gonna be flushed quickly. PWD trying to defend on the other side. Orchid falling, crumbling. These are huge points for Geeky.
But they're still kind of trapped out in the middle of nowhere. They've got 4 angry men, Gen G taking shots. They've got to rotate into the circle. Even if they do get into the circle, it's going to be very close to Namiga. FN Pochon's hopped in vehicles. They're going to be roaming pretty close to Namiga on the other side. So if you're Geek, this is the time that you can make some form of move. Sharper thinking similarly. They're going to rotate up, but they have to move away.
Yep, they are done. They are done.
There is nowhere to go. Zakraken picks up Earth easy.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to try to use the side of the road. That's not going to happen. Lose, not going to let you do it. I mean, FN still kind of angling in towards Twisted. They haven't committed the
Smoke nearby.
but they're getting damage in at the very least.
Smoke nearby के पास.
Arena up on the other side. They've got Furia thinking about encroaching on that territory too. So could be a fight breaking out over here. But Rex looking to duel Lou and
Oh boys, oh.
better end of it.
Twisted is just in such a weird spot now. They've got FN Pochon. They still have Sharper in front of them. Multiple targets, and they're going to have to clean this as they move. Blue zone on top of them makes it even worse. D back behind. Spots out Perfectix. Spots out Example 2. Stabbing at the back with his last breath. Revenge of dish. Best served cold, it feels like.
Man, D is doing great. He does die there to Posa's grenade, but what a fantastic little show he put on there for us. Star-Lord doing a good job holding down the line here as he gets a couple big knocks.
Run. Run.
I don't know if you actually have enough speed to do anything about that. Yeah, it's tough to get up there.
Furia just got entirely annihilated right over next to T1, so now T1's position a lot more comfortable. This is just
Oh no.
to a nade and explosion battle as PWD is just awkwardly
Oh no.
on top of PWD. That does mean that there was more damage over to that BRDM. Diffex, what do you got? Are you just gonna kind of let that one go? Can't really do too much more. It's Quizzy just to the south of this, so this is a very awkward spot. Just trapped here, but Diffex at least takes down B.
Oh, this is worst possible scenario here for Geeky, falling at the hands of Gen G, the team right behind you. And okay. Star-Lord, though, just shows up, and he is done with Sharper. 2 kills there for the IGL of FN.
Easy angle down into the lower Sharper. It's time for this to pop off. E-Arena realizes they've got to get into the zone, so pinched position, Lyrics close up on top. Looking down on to Raining, should be easy pickup. Smokes make it a bit more complicated, but E-Arena finding more and more kills in a good position in the circle. To the east, though, guess who's still alive? 17 Gaming.
Yeah, 17, really quiet.
17 FN NMG तीन टीम है
Here so far, they've got a couple of kills.
इन 4 D and 1
They've got themselves set up for a really
4 बचे हुए हैं
really strong late game. Namiga trying to dance around Rex's shots. Rex not able to get the knock to go. Breakers looking for some damage as well, but actually 4AM connects in him. He's got the MG3. Not a lot of ammo, though. On the back of that machine gun, 7s need to be found there to kind of continue with that.
So everybody's a bit nervous around 4 Angry Men and 17's position high ground. With the way that this road wraps, Gen G can kind of get underneath of it, and they're using the BRDM to do some scouting. Namiga is just going to be down below them, just to the west, using the hillside for some form of cover of their own, slammed up against it. But Namiga's got their own problem in FN Pochon. Across the circle, they've got vision. And right now, with FN Pochon very focused in on Namiga, the higher up this hillside that we see Gen G go, that's going to open up FN's vision as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of an awkward spot for both Gen G and Namiga. Like, if Gen G tries to peek over the hill, they might get shot by FN. Same thing goes for Namiga. They have to just hunker down and kind of wait this out. Meanwhile, FN needs to get active here on this northern edge. If they can clean out an extra player or 2 of E-Arena, that'd open up so much space for them.
Well, just 2 members up for E-Arena right now, but there's just nobody around them. There's 3 squads below already out. This is a chance to start trying to get a climb back in, get a bit more comfortable in that position. But Jacob
ये मरने वाला अब
find some safety, but with just 2 members, this is going to be very, very complicated for them.
The ammo starting to become an issue here for FN, and they're being a little bit more diligent with when they want to take their shots, trying to make sure that they're going to get value out of that, as Breakers looking for that Namiga player who maybe was trying to wrap down. Hello, my bad, a little bit further up. Rex spots out a Gen G player. Felt like he had an opportunity, and he almost got that knock, but there is that BRDM up there still, I believe, that Gen G can use safely to go for the heals and other things, as, yep, Orca's still in it.
Welcome to a multi-tiered ending for what we're looking at. Up on top, we've got 4 Angry Men, 17 going to be pretty close to them. Then that little bit of a drop-off in the road leads to where Gen G is at. Then they've got a cliff facing that drops down into Namiga. Lower ground sections does mean that FN Pochon is really the only team that has to move, and they have to figure out which way they really want to go after this. They sent Star-Lord over into the north, very far to the west, to see if he could spot out where maybe the E-Arena movement was happening at. They don't have it. They're trying to scout out, and FN Pochon has no easy pathing in, because any firefight that breaks out leads to a very massive crossfire, specifically coming up from the high ground.
Yeah, I think the really only option here for FN is to do what they're going to do, and that's try to get into E-Arena on that western side and make your entrance through there. They're trying to spread out a little bit, again, looking for anybody who might overextend or make a mistake, but the problem for them is every other team is in the circle already. They're the only ones on the outside looking in, essentially. They got to make a move. Now that might help a bit. A knock from Bean onto Levante.
Does Breakers and the rest of the crew have any idea on how they can make this push up? That just opens up more firing lanes. You can see the FN Pochon was trying to see if they could peek up, but Gen G took the shots. Levante should be rezzed now, so it's awkward. There's nowhere to go. I mean, they can kind of squeeze in a bit more to the north of where they're at, but that's going to open up a firing line from Jacob. They don't know how many people are up there. They just think that they've spotted one person moving in Jacob.
Yeah, it's tricky. They want to take a fight against Namiga and see if they can quickly get through there, but there's no way Gen G would likely allow that. However, as we can see, Gen G is kind of moving up towards 4 AM.
ये सही है यार इनकी पोजीशन सही है एक 17 की सही है
A lot of dangerous teams up here that are still very
4 AM and 70
If you can manage to dethrone 4 Angry Men from that point, where Tosi's already holding at, you get so much control over the circle. It can really hammer down a lot of these other squads. FN Pochon did opt just to that little smidge of a spot that they can hide at for now. Nothing else good to work with, and that's even vulnerable from 17's position.
Yeah, this would be one of those moments where it'd be really nice to have a folding shield for FN. They could at least cut off a little bit more of those angles to their north and east. That would be really helpful here to give them a little bit more ability to flex out with their guns and counterfire.
Well, this has gotten very weird for also E-Arena. They had to retreat up against the wall itself. They heard and saw Evan Pochon kind of dancing around to the south of them, so they're pretty much back-to-back right up against the wall. Up above them is going to be Diffex. Geeke's still alive. He's still holding out, so that's not opened up a ton for Gen G, but that's going to open up a lot. Bean gets a good knock. Spots out 17 on the other side. Two different squads he's now taking pot shots at. The new circle has popped, and it's moved away from the 4 Angry Men compound.
I'd love to see Gen G get a little bit more proactive towards 4 AM there. They should know that there's only going to be one gun available if they stick that res to counterfire onto them. Let FN work the other side of the map. 17's probably going to get involved in this. You can see they want to angle down and towards this.
Ooh, it's dangerous. Too many angles, not enough to work with. Evan Pochon wants to creep forward. Zenith is at least in the circle, but he's got to move right at E-Arena, and Lyrics reads it. Easy shots, but FN's got to go. They have nowhere that they can really go other than this, so they just have to run right into E-Arena. They've got to firefight it out while having 17 up above them to boot.
Well, at least Diffex does something about 17. He got a kill. Jacob with a Groza, very scary. A barrel there too, so these are dangerous close guns here for E-Arena. There's another knock for Jacob.
Jacob just feasting. Evan Pochon, no options, a good option, but Diffex is hearing this. He's now trying to see if he can get angled down. That reveals him to 17. Zhao Bei takes him down. That means 17 gets more movement.
Yeah, FN really wants to get this revive.
Oh boy.
Does some damage, no knocks though. Lyrics very low. Doesn't matter. Jacob with the Groza.
Just raining terror. Evan Pochon out. On the side of this E-Arena, where do you go next? On top, 17 popping off. Finds themselves 4 Angry Men all gone.
This could be a huge game for Gen G. Potentially give themselves some hope, especially with 4 AM going down, to get out of that bottom 3 position. They're still a bit away, but if they can get through with the chicken dinner, they might get past 4 AM on the leaderboard. Still some work to do here uphill. Jacob continues to thrive.
Just vibing in a terrible situation. Namiga backs up against the wall. They have the exact same situation that what we just saw going on with
8 kill.
Little Ghost lines up. Does he know exactly where Flame is? This is a hard shot to hit through the smokes. Got to be careful. Molotov's on the other side, but Jacob, Lyrics doubled up. Continue. Just Jacob, the last one up for his squad now. Has to be careful. Orca, though, gonna throw in some assistance.
Orca, nice job there, finding that tight angle from above and connecting, getting that knock onto Hello My Bad. Lil Ghost still hunting for a target. Would love to make it Gen G here. They're still 4 strong, but he's getting lit up. And Jacob still getting it done.
He's got work to do. Up on top, Gen G getting more control. Zhao Bei's got to be careful. He's got a lot of Gen G members around him. Jacob on the other side. It is a 4v1v1. Jacob finally goes down, and everything leans into Zhao Bei.
बढ़िया खेला यार लड़का यार.
And they've got it. The win here for a team that had
9 kill देकर गया भाई साहब.
And here on day number 3 in Group A, they start off with a big win.
Don't count them out yet. Points galore in that big, big game for Gen.
Jacob. मस्त खेला भाई.
Does it get him into a better spot? That is the question.
बढ़िया भाई लौंडे.
They played that so well, Matt. The way that they were patient, found that knock on a 4 AM, used that to kind of start
4 AM के पास बढ़िया एडवांटेज था. लेकिन नॉक होने के बाद में सारा कुछ खत्म.
Jacob. Oh my God, Jacob.
Jacob. Jacob the beast. भाई साहब कहाँ से कहाँ लेकर गया लड़का. 9 किल भाई 9 किल. लास्ट टाइम पे कितने किल निकाले? तकरीबन 5-6 किल निकाले लास्ट टाइम पे लौट. मदर डाल दिया ऐसा.
It's when your back is against the rope that you have to stand up and
ये कितना क्लोज था भाई ये सीन.
does it. They come away with a chicken dinner to start the last day of play. Is it a grace to the finals? Maybe not, but does it possibly start the path to survival? I think so.
one of the most legacied orgs here in PUBG, Gen G. We were hoping for them to step off, and they did it early on. And you know what? This is absolutely the most perfect start for these guys.
Yeah.
So imagine this, right? You're in the bottom three, like, guys, we gotta have an insane day.
Yeah.
And to get that in the first game, the morale boost, the confidence boost, everything is gonna be on a whole new level for these guys. So I'm actually at this point, I'm like, yeah, Gen G's gonna survive. The question
चेकअप के दिखाओ यार
top 5 games. Imagine like a
ये आ गया
that could put them in there.
Because that mix is relatively close. And on top of that, the confidence boost wise, this was a very tough circle to play. The shifts to the south, not a lot of availability. A lot of people coming out of Valdemar and having to struggle in doing so. Then we get to the high ground fight, and it was just absolute chaos. But Orca up there putting in work. I will say Jacob was a shocking poltergeist in this game. They gave him a Groza, and he, I think, top damaged the lobby.
Yeah, Jacob looking too good, man. It's again a arena. Always in these situations here when we have 2 players left, they're able to salvage so much here. And yeah, Roth super happy. D, man, I think that's a 6-point salvage to them. They tried to make a huge send here. They crashed onto one of the JDD buildings. There's admittedly only 1 player alive in there, but he made the most of it. Did he kiss him?
He did. He's got a little picture of Roth next. So Roth sits on the far side of the lineup, so he wants to make sure that he gets to have a Roth next to him as well.
I love that, yeah.
But you're right, the recovery of D, as far as fresh young players, QAD has brought 2 of them out at PGS. They're here as well. They seem to be developing very quickly. D has been exciting to watch. Quiet in real life, loud in game. And that kind of recovery, you can't speak. Like, they lost their tires going down Valdemar. The fact that they managed to recover and him get so much was really, really
And the
impressive.
triple nade on Freaks as well. That must have been deafening for the rest of that team. So yeah, a little bit rough one. It's always
तकरीबन 5-6 किल निकाले जेकब ने ना
third circle pop. You can see, especially with the water, how it's gonna go. It's gonna go in the east side, but it's in a very interesting area, right? We have all these ridges, insane terrain, insane elevation. One of the compounds was in for longer than it should have been, but Gen G made the most of it. 18 points in this one here, but E-Arena, 9 kills on the back of Jacob and Larry. Massive one for them. A little bit of a surge for 17 as well. They're able to get double digits here. 11 points to go their way, Toffees. We're talking about it. 17. One of the teams that have 1-2 PGSs in the
और
They're a team that should be fighting
अरे यार
for
पास बढ़िया एडवांटेज था हाई ग्राउंड का
currently trying to fight for right now, potentially gets into the top 5, but survival prior to this game.
I mean, 17 is one of those games where we go, are we getting good 17 or bad 17 today, right? And so they showed up, they got 3. Maybe it's a good 17 day. I want to see what they keep putting up. E-Arena, great game. Obviously, the hometown audience, very happy for them. But for me, it speaks to Gen G and just how popular they are, as you brought up, in terms of global appeal. Because when they won, the stadium here was dressed exclusively in Thai jerseys, cheered for them.
Yeah, and E-Arena here now jumps up to 86 points. Again, we're talking about this hypothetical cutoff. It's going to be, again, it really comes down to Expendables, Twisted Minds. Are they able to also pop off? Are they able to get, you know, the 40, 50 points plus that we know they're capable of? It could be lower, but I'm seeing somewhere between 120 to 130 is going to be the cutoff or the safe point.
Now to pivot to the bottom, Gen G
so expendables.
And what that really does is it puts 4 AM in a dangerous position, because if they drop down below that 14th line as we finish Miramar, there's a world where T1 says we're hunting them from now on, and it gets a lot harder for them to push advance.
Are we cutting JDG off already, saying, okay, guys, that's a...
Are we cutting who off?
JDG?
Who?
The guys that's 16th.
Oh, yeah, those guys. Yeah, that's what I meant by that. Yeah, I think we are, because, again, they drop in. They avoided the hot drop this time. They were smart in doing so.
And they're actually close to the circle. They actually had better prio than if they were fighting and delaying both of the teams.
But 3 points is not going to get you there when you're starting out with 17, right? You have to have bigger moves. I will say that about this game. When we got to that phase 6, I believe it was 9 through 15th place that were up. It was almost exclusively those teams who were desperate for points. That's kind of exciting when you think about the final match.
Yeah, man, I love the start of this one here. We obviously have 5 more games to go as we are playing the last day of Group A here. It's, for me, it's an era of PUBG here that comes in, and all these players coming in saying,
ये मैप किस लिए थे
this double elimination with 2 moving goalposts, 2 different groups is some of the most exciting PGC we've ever seen.
With PUBG United rearing its head for the first time, the era shift, the amount of money on the line, a Porsche Cayenne.
और ये डबल हेडफोन क्यों पहन रखे हैं
The pressure has never been higher. In fact, D plus Kia, the PUBG mobile defending champions, here in the venue today to watch the games played out. So thank you to them. We'll see if maybe we can sneak a chance to talk to them later.
That'd be cool.
I'd love to hear their perspective as they watch these teams play. But this is for all the marbles, our last Dusty Dunes for Group A. Let's get ready to... Oh, hold on. Okay, it sounds like we have a little bit of a tech issue, so we're not going to get ready to rumble. We're going to get ready to hold on.
Wait, that fantastic situation. We get time.
We get more time. I'm not mad about
awesome. I love that.
So a bit of an equipment issue. So I want to pivot back to T1 because what we saw in that was the hot drop avoided them.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, it felt like they had great placement, really smart movement. They look good.
Let's talk a little bit about that, right? Because we had this last day here. JDGX has stated we're going to go and we're going to commit to the hot drop. They don't care. But that was all bluff.
It was all bluff.
Equipment issue. Fix करो भाई. क्या कर रहे हो?
Looking really good in third, but 95 points before the day started, right? And you know, on top of that, like when you're that far in lead, why would you contest someone that's already looking like to be going directly to the finals here? The thing is, for me though, once you're these top teams, right? Once you're this deep and potentially now with Twisted Minds, T1 and potentially Arena, what's your pivot into what you focus on, right? Because you potentially could be looking at 3 teams you can help eliminate that you will not be seeing try to fight for survival on last chance stage or even in the grand finals directly. And that should be your sole focus. You should say, okay, this is teams that are directly challenging our paths into the circle. Some of our drops is they're too close to, or they're taking a compound or a car that we are fighting for. That should be your sole focus, especially once you feel way safer, right? And currently, I would say it's only TE and Twisted Minds, so Expendables and Twisted Minds that's in that situation. But once we go through the day, once we develop a little bit more, and I would say once you're like 110, 120 plus, that's where your focus should be on. And you can slowly do it once you're through the games, right? Like tactical third parties, tactical some of the gatekeeping situations, especially on the harder shift circles.
Well, I think you also take a look at the fact that the last 2 maps are the grassy patches and the Wrangle. We brought this up with Miramar, right? It's a tough circle, but there's a lot of places to hide. There's a lot of places to disappear too. That doesn't exist in the grassy pastures. So if you let yourself fall to the bottom of that board and put yourself in a position to be hunted by a rival, there's not a lot of options. That's where we see our traps. That's where we see our bridge camps. That's where we see some of the most frustrating moments and chaotic moments in PUBG. Yesterday was a blast when we got to Wrangle. I expect it to be like that again. So Sharper brought everyone out for this one. It has worked in their favor, but I think E-Arena also benefiting from this as well. Jacob looked good, but the White Rabbits over the course of the last 2 PGSs and this start of PGC have looked like a very strong team.
I mean, the home crowd advantages should be flowing through here. I want to see more from Sharper. It's awesome. They have huge amount of support from the crowd everywhere. We see them in game. They're screaming. Even though they're dying, there's screaming going on from the whole crowd here. So that's awesome. And in general, what so far today here, I want to see these teams pass that triple-digit mark as soon as possible. Because once we get to the Wrangle, as you said, it's way more calculated. It's way more figured out.
Way more challenges, so now is the time to make the moves that guarantee your spot at the PGC 2025 Championships. The chance to raise the trophy.
स्क्रीन में घुसा बैठा है. कीबोर्ड कितनी दूर कर रखा है स्क्रीन से.
It's the Dusty Dunes. Let's send it over to Match'em and put.
Miramar. Game start. Dang.
It's time for the last Miramar of Group Stage A. What can they manage to do?
Match 14. Group A. Miramar.
This is less bad in terms of the play path, for sure.
Or less good?
Or less good, yeah. However you want to look at it. This is going to be a little bit tricky, though, to see. Okay, JDG out early, so they're not going to be contesting Chumacera. We thought maybe for sure it would happen, but it did not. And T1 just going to be sitting there pretty. Alcadzia heading over towards Monte Nuevo in their area.
JDG's situation just got that much worse with Genji performing in that last game.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's so much crazier, and it feels more and more isolated down at the bottom of the leaderboard.
No, you're absolutely right. That's for a lot of teams there around that bottom position. Seeing Genji come out and start with a win is scary. It's got you on pins and needles for sure.
The arena's in Partona.
Is that a prediction for where the circle's going to go?
No, I like Partona. I think it's fun.
I do too. Circles can go there. It does happen.
It's such a cool place to fight, but you just never see it.
I know. It is. I've gotten, I think, 1 or 2 down there. Well, I got one down there as well, like before it changed to Partona, before they redid the map a bit. But it's pretty unlikely, unfortunately for us. It's west again.
Hey, did you like that circle? Same thing yet again.
Oh boy.
Just a smidge, and maybe a little bit more west. But not, it's not that different.
Odd or
Almost the same.
TA.
If you like what you saw in the last game, it's going to be pretty similar. Of course, T1 strong
G1 भी सर्कल में है.
moved down the road, or I guess to the west, across the road.
LA का सही है यार. LA की प्लेसमेंट अभी तो सही है.
If we see them hop to it again, but that kind of put them in an awkward spot of having to recross to get back over. So now I'm kind of curious, does T1 stay committed to that strategy, or do they just want to hold Chumacera proper?
Yeah, what I'd like to see Al-Qadsia do is reinforce those positions that are to the east of Brickyard if they want to hold those. Make sure that if 17 is going to be considering a very similar rotation, that you have an answer for it so you don't have to be the ones to retreat this time, because you saw how deep 17 got into that game because they were able to bully Al-Qadsia out very, very early. So that secured them for a much better high ground position to maneuver with into that late game. Al-Qadsia needs to respond, in my opinion, with a reinforcement of that eastern edge of their setup.
Jacob doesn't look like he's done yet. He's going to at least let T1 know, hey, we've got some control just to the south of you. T1 is being a bit greedy, but in a good way. They've got now the hillside. Looks like that's going to be where they stop at. So let's kind of get an idea on what's going on with type and the mindset of T1 now that they don't have these hot drops.
PC 시작하기 전에 좀 게임 즐기면서 재밌게 하자 했는데 그거대로 좀 잘 된 것 같아가지고 좀 못했을 때 멘탈도 안 터지고 잘한 것 같습니다. 일단 게임 즐기는 게 가장 중요하다 생각하고 3일차도 1, 2일차와 같이 똑같이 즐기면서 재밌게 게임한다면은 그랜드 파이널 진출은 문제 없을 거라고 생각합니다. 그리고 징동 게임이랑 포엠이 가장 견제되는 대상인데요. 그 두 팀만 견제하면은 어떻게든 좋은 성적 낼 수 있을 것 같습니다.
Just have fun.
Easy.
That says a lot about the mindset. We talk about like how serious Sonic is and everything else like that, but on the other side of that, the T1 players are a very lively squad.
Yeah, they are. And actually Sonic, it can be pretty funny. He looks serious, like
He's made me laugh a lot.
Oh, all the time. He's funny. But he's you know, when it comes to the game, he's dead serious. Like, he is one of the you know, most intelligent coaches in our game. Obviously, he's a PGC champion with Danawa. Now here on T1, has flirted with a second one last year and continues to bring really good results for T1 overall.
TE के पास अभी भी 122 पॉइंट
Tremendous.
सबसे हाई.
He looks serious whenever you see him on camera, and he's maybe chewing out the players a little bit. He's got that kind of good cop, bad cop look inside of him anyway.
His love language is angry dad face. Right? That's just the best way to describe it. Regroup that we see, Sharper had a very good way to get into the circle to the west. We also do have a sandstorm that's kind of brewing over to the west that might cross over Al-Qadsia. We'll have to see how that goes. 17 is moving into the lower ground section of Chumacera as T1 did opt into a kind of 2-2 split where they're holding high ground and the lower grounds next to the road itself. JDG is going to find a wrap to the south, feeling far more comfortable. T1 doing a long wrap around Los Leones. We have seen two modifications that are quite major. Looking at this, Namika is coming in a long wrap from the north, now on the western side, closer to Sharper. We saw them come down from the southeast last time, and now Twisted is playing to the east of this.
Yeah, one interesting little wrinkle here in this equation is 4AM is going to be coming in a lot later because they didn't have to take an alt drop off this plane path, so they are going to be not able to find one of those compounds early that they would like. And E-Arena going to be one of the ones that steps up in that spot. Sharper looking for the tires. Thunders. Can he get it? I don't think he did.
Oh.
Really open sight line for a long period of time. Makes the switch over, and Sharper does a good job on at least corralling Namika.
बच गया ऐसा भी है.
Yeah, I mean, Sharper is, you know, they're always active at the very least. Again, I appreciate the way this team just kind of wants to fight. They want to take some good moments. They're looking for opportunities, and they've been capitalizing at times. And 71 points, and yeah,
that's a work of art.
It's screwed.
And now 17 has to just send it and go right into T1's position. This has gotten really weird. Raining, holding the line on one side of it, but Heather's got to hold it close range, and he has a tool to do it.
Oh, that's huge. This buys a lot of time here for these rotations to come in, get the little backup. Oh, Heather there. Was thinking about a grenade. Has to throw a little bit of util at that door. Would have much rather had the shotgun in hand. Could have maybe found a knock there, but at least going to back 17 off with that blue zone.
there's a lot of ramifications. T1 had to move into the lower sections with multiple members. Good shots. See if they find peak.
Oh.
Type comes in. Reinforcements at the exact right time. All high ground
17.
has been surrendered to go after this lower ground fight, and that's opened up the circle for a lot of these teams to rotate.
Yeah, it's actually Roth there. Gets the flush onto EN. Gets knocked in an uncomfortable position. And so T1 will lose one player. Xiao Wu on his knees. Heather wants to try to prevent this.
Can they make the cross, though, with Al-Qadzia on the outside of this? This has gotten pretty awkward. Twisted also has spotted this, and I wouldn't say make a commitment into taking shots, but Dylan's will take them if they present themselves. It's going to be what you see on the mini-map over there coming from the northeast. So if anything, it's kind of containing the other members for T1 and still leaving a very isolated T1 member in Heather.
Yeah, this is pretty awkward for both teams stuck inside of this compound because so many other teams around you are going to have sight lines into it. We lose a GK player early. That's heartbreaking. Don't want to see that with a team that's down in 15th and needs a ton of points.
Pushing around, getting ready for the door. Heather's holding a very strong angle. Got some
Oh.
perfectly Heather clinical.
Paisa.
He handled that so well. He knew he could hold that right there on the bathroom side. Able to dodge the stun and immediately repeat that and finish 17's round.
But here's the thing. T1 moved from that high ground. Gen G has it again.
यार ये लग गया
That's perfect for them.
That is big news.
T1 के पास.
That's huge, dude. I mean, that's exactly where you want to be in a circle like this based on...
95 से 101.
Seems like that's a popular area for the circles to want to drift towards.
The Expendables made a small modification, and instead of everybody going along the coast, getting in Valdemar, they sent Delwyn on the other side of the, I guess, water to look over, and it's still going about the same. The Expendables can't really find a path in here too easy, just due to the fact that JDG gets to this point so fast.
Delwyn's like, I'm feeling a prison circle in my bones, guys. I'm getting over here. Get ready.
5 head plays right now when it goes to prison. The Expendables will be laughing all the way to the bank.
That'd be amazing. FN coming in pretty late to this circle this time. Again, without that heavily shifted southern plane path, a lot of teams are having to come at the circle from very different situations than they
और फिर ये ऐसे ये हुआ ये सीन हुआ.
one of those things that happens that snowballs into you have to make a bad decision, and T1 is so stalwart in these close quarter battles. I mean, they do a great job. Type jumps out of the window, knows he needs to try and bail EN out.
And it's also how fast they got to this position, because the other members abandoned high ground and instantly reinforced their teammates. That's how come somebody was already sitting there waiting. Perfect moment.
Look at this.
Potential perfect moment for Delwyn as well, depending on where the Freaks opted to going.
That's what I was just saying. There's a weird world where Delwyn and the Freaks end up bumping into each other.
He's by himself. Does he take the shots? Because they might stop for him.
I don't think he would.
Oh, okay. Pretty similar circle to last time.
They can cut up.
Oh boy. अभी आ गया अब.
Play the southeast edge if they wanted. The Freaks could. I'm kind of curious.
ये कितनी बार है?
Off the back of that. Well, we're talking about how good that high ground position was for Gen G. Do have a knock there, and I don't know that that's resible at this point. They're just driving right at it, our Orchid.
Yeah, Orchid, well done. You get your knock, you run in quick, you try to usurp this position as fast as you can. Boostic doesn't want to walk into a no man's land, but spots out a crawling knock, so easily should be able to pick this one up. He just doesn't want to walk into the wrong angle.
Oh, man. This is awful for Gen G. Great for Orchid. They're still in a spot where they could maybe get into that top 5, so absolutely a nice pickup for them. Boostic, so talented. Would love to see him just go right into that grand finals and see what he can continue to do.
Twisted has high ground onto T1's position, more to their west. Mostly teams just kind of moving in a bit more and
19 point.
Al-Qadzia running a 2-2 split. Arena just to the south of them, pretty similar. Namiga has managed to take position on Valdemar. Up to the north, it's going to be Furia as well as 4 Angry Men. Squads not yet in the circle.
All right. Just waiting to see what'll happen after phase 2 here. That's going to dictate a lot of what goes on in this game. Everybody already angling for a very similar circle to what we saw in the last game in terms of where people are positioned currently on the map. But you never know here on Miramar. There's actually not much land ratio terrain down here anymore. So it's really just the river that matters for where the circle can't go. And FN is going to be driving right through Gen G.
Well, I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's going to be pretty bad. Tosi realizing he's maybe in the worst of the spots.
Oh no.
So sneaky, peeks it the perfect moment. Easy knock, but it's just too many members chasing after. FN Pochon, though, more vulnerable, has to go to the dip for their reses.
Yeah, I mean, Twisted Minds from their position can fire on so many different teams, and Gen G, well, they're angry.
If he gets his nade, that's a little cubby. If he reads this right and drops it on top of him, easy pickup with nades, but Zenith's gonna defend.
Oh, Zenith, though, can't get any damage into Bean. That's to go right down. There's that grenade you're talking about. Oh, go.
Oh.
Too far. How does the next one? A bit too far to one side. Follow-up gets stopped by the...
Oh, ye wala. Oh.
Comes up, but issue is Boostic gets the knock onto Flame right as he gets the double knock.
Yeah, and Rex is just trying to figure out what the heck's going on around him, and it makes it easy for Bean to come around on the side. And FN's going to lose 3 players. Star-Lord was trailing well behind this. Opportunistic from Gen G, but they had to be.
Orchid wants more, realizing that there's vulnerabilities up here. They want this high ground, and they have an opportunity to maybe take it. Lurex is going to be the guy that's sneaking up here, realizing that whoever is here is in shambles.
Yeah, Star-Lord needs to play safety, and Gen G committed a lot to go for those. They only get 2 of the kills, so some of them get stolen, and I would assume that Orchid is just going to wipe out Bean here. He's all on his own. He is isolated, and he's trying his best to get the heck out of there. There is a dust storm. That's a great timing, potentially. Oh, but he gets tagged right as he falls.
Oh, and then the new circle pops, and it goes south yet again.
Yep, right in that same vicinity. So this time the Freaks in a nice spot. We've seen them here, though, in this almost exact circle before, and they couldn't really do much with it. So I want to see what the Freaks are going to change previously. Compared to being in a very similar situation. JDG going to be 4 stacked in a compound there, so that's going to be something that they can't really do anything about. Batulins are going to get the backside of Sharper, but able to escape just in time as Thunders.
Looks like End is going to be rejoining the rest of the squad. Should be fine. Notables that we need to look at: the Freaks get southeast control over the circle. The Expendables kind of southwest. They've got the canal that they're playing around, so that should be fine. Namiga's holding the outside of Valdemar, where we can see that Geek as well as Sharper might be approaching from. The 2-2 split from Alcadzia is still inside the circle. Very awkward. E-Arena has regrouped, and Orchid has left their high ground and gotten very close to them.
T1 gets the revive onto E-End. That's going to open up an opportunity for 4AM to drive past while they're waiting for their comrade to get back on the ground. So Heather looking to do some damage, but not really connecting there with his shots.
Oh, GK, bad neighborhood.
Oh.
Hello, my bad. Feels pretty good about taking down Spyro there. Easy pickup for him to find, but we still have a couple of squads tailing in back behind this. I want to keep an eye on. T1 is in some trouble, maybe in their rotate, maybe even Twisted.
Yeah, Twisted is going to have to drive through Sharper, and Earth is actually going to see them driving by, so he's going to be able to relay that information over. Bean! Bean
Tries to make the hero play happen, and once he goes for the flush, Tongmu peeks it back.
Oh, Bean, a nice try. Again, such a difficult position to be in. 4AM, though, now hurt, wounded. Is that going to be the go signal for Alcadzia to try to do some damage to them? Type. Oh, he's got Star-Lord out there, but they're both pretty weak. Oh, it's raining, actually, who gets the kill for T1. So FN goes out early.
Look at this. Twisted just takes the bridge. They realize that it's going to be too congested over into the west and the north, so they're going to wrap around. That's going to put them a bit close to Delwyn, but you can see Alcadzia in some trouble. Multiple squads, and Sharper, E-Arena, 4 Angry Men, and T1 all taking a piece.
Yeah, they get caught trying to go for 4AM there. They opted to see if they could punish those knocks, and instead they're the ones who were punished. It's actually going to be a few players from Sharper. We're going to clean up some of those kills, and 4M's just like, yeah, thank you very much. We're going to take that compound.
Well, that was the 2-2 split from Alcadzia. Very vulnerable. I don't think that they could regroup just due to Sharper's positioning, as well as 4 Angry Men in E-Arena, so opted to just hold it for the time. But Now that means that newer contenders are going to approach. The circle moves very open into the field where we can see the sprinklers at. Twisted has actually opted into jumping into the water, and Delwyn, the rest of the Expendables should know this. How are they going to move around? It looks like they're just going to try to catch the mermaid swimming across.
They absolutely should. They should just try to punish Twisted here.
This is going to be really bad for Twisted.
Oh, he knows.
They don't find somewhere.
Oh, Delwyn's so smart. He knew there'd be an anchor, or maybe he'd already seen Batulins there, but this is...
Well, he spots the three. He knows. Here's the shots. Batulins. Are you going to play this aggressive? Or are you just playing anchor? Kalori's actually spots Batulins across the other side. He's containing.
Oh.
Spindle's in so much trouble. Delwyn's going
हो
to...
गया भाई, नॉक हो गया.
But Tanvu has the beautiful angle. Example fires it back, though.
Oh my God, Example is just too good. He has to go back in the water, though. Delwyn's still able to free fire from that angle. Duckjuice wants to go for the grenade. He's getting lit up by Batulins a bit.
Nobody can really get the knock onto Batulins or Delwyn, and they're just raining damage in. Delwyn's position is so fortified. Nobody on Twisted has clean vision, and Batulins is still just caught up, trying to make sure he can shoot the other members for the Expendables away from the high ground, but it's come at a massive cost.
Yeah, great setup there for the Expendables. That's why you leave that player on the other side of the bridge. Continuing with their reign of destruction is T1. The more points they get in this game, the more likely they are to just be going straight to the grand finals. A little bit of a drop down there, but the vehicle's on fire. They're in trouble.
There's nowhere to go, and Namiga just rolls right through him, picks it up. They've got to continue their path into the zone, though. Still has PWD on one side, T1, 4 Angry Men, and Al-Qadsia on the other. Big firefight happening to the north.
Oh, the T1 is trying to fan out a bit. They're going to leave E-End on point. They lose type to 4AM, but that's a freebie. It should be for E-End, indeed. Heather finds a knock on the backside.
Al-Qadsia out, now starting to get in a pretty dangerous position. T1, 9 kills, just still farming over here. Type down, but the other 3...
9 kill.
Success upon success. Got to be careful. JDG does hear this firefight. They might be trying to backstab. If they don't keep their eyes on the horizon behind them, T1 could be in some big trouble.
Well, the thing is T1 doesn't kill too much. They've got plenty of kills, 12 in this game, and they are
Gone. 4 AM.
into that grand finals.
JDG retreats thinking the firefight is done, but it is not. Namiga now has eyes on T1's point, and Batulins is wrapped in back behind Namiga. That could be a problem for Hello My Bad.
Well, JDG at least able to steal a point there. A great grenade from Heather, but a cleanup from Suze. Another grenade being thought about here by Namiga. Looking for raining, but it actually hits the cover. The Dorito drops in and blocks the grenade. Heather out in the open, though, in trouble and taken down.
2 members of T1 remain and trying to just get to the safe zone. Running right alongside Namiga. The circle pops as far away from this firefight as possible. JDG, who's been waiting to see if they can gatekeep, going to have to deal with maybe a remnant move of their own.
All right, Namiga needs to get into the zone. This one's starting to hurt. It's phase 5, but there's not a lot for them to do. The Expendables even see this. Tanvu looking for the long-range shots, and it's actually getting cold from JDG. Who finds Levante, and T1's like, our point? Nope, it gets taken by Tanvu.
Tanvu unrelenting. T1 though, 12 kills. Trying to survive. This is going to be very hard. Leosh still alive behind. PWD just to the south of this. The Expendables have path into circle. Cloris is going to go ahead and opt for it. Orchid not inside the zone just yet. Furia was trying to find a path in, but it's going to be the Freaks down in the southeast that are gatekeeping them.
Lurix just got a big knock with the links there onto Zakraken, and that gives a little bit of breathing room here for the Freaks. Kind of slow.
With G1 12 kill भाई साहब. 12 kill.
That revive when they risked it to go all out and get him back in, and he made the most of it.
Very worth at that stage.
TE and MG 5 kill.
Their way into the northwest. Big problems. Orchid right on top of Furia. Arctics is playing more to the west, already inside the zone, but going to be pretty close to Jacob. The other members going to rock.
And MG dead.
Of Furia, and Furia already expecting it.
Yeah, nice shots there. Gizera able to clean up Mogore. Posa so weak, trying to hide it. Oh, what a shot from Boostic, but he gets immediately traded by the sneaky Posa.
Oh, boy.
Lurix down as well.
Just solid defense from Furia, but Freaks hear this firefight. They want to see if they can contain Furia. Human moving forward, Heaven on one side, so Loot down to the south. Jacob, here's this.
JDG अभी भी है match.
High ground, it's going to be Arctics that gets the better of it.
Oh, I love the M249. He's only on 9 bullets, 56 behind. maybe able to get some level 3 gear here. The Freaks want to try to finish this. The problem for the Freaks is they've got DL trying to contain the Expendables on the other side of this.
E-Arena also now having to contend firmly against JDG. JDG made their push into the circle. PWD is going to be back behind them. A lot of firefighting just to try to get a foot into the circle, and JDG in some trouble. E-Arena doing a good job in defense.
Yeah, E-Arena so solid today with their rifling. They have just been smoking players in the lobbies. As JDG scrambling to get that valuable player up December the 12th, looking to be taken down here by Lyrics.
Oh, so clean, and that nade goes just a bit too far. Lyrics walks in, no fear, brave, goes for the fight. Continue, Opons goes down, just him and Nurens. Is he going to spot the other side? Yes, he is! Nurens just running amok right now.
I love that from Nurens. Great awareness there. The veteran for E-Arena. Wise to where that player might be coming out of the smoke and was looking for the follow.
T1 खत्म.
But now they're going to find him anyway. Great plays here from E-Arena.
Now they have to continue their path.
JDG खत्म.
It's going to be the Expendables. They are active on this side. They're spotting out everybody that's trying to limp their way into the circle. Tanvu going to be the closest to Lyrics, just running down the hillside by himself. Arctic still alive over into the northeast of this position. Furia opted away from going for the Freaks, and that means that the Freaks have control of everything in the south.
Yeah, both teams beat each other up there with Furia and the Freaks, and both stuck their reses and backed off. The Expendables were sniffing in that direction, but something happened. I assume it's the fighting up here, and they felt like this was the juicier target. Thought they could get a few more points coming up this direction. Lyrics trying to use a little bit of the shrubs here.
The gold right now just kind of matching in with the grass, hoping it provides him enough camouflage as he's got 3 members. Who spots him first, and it's going to be Delwyn. So one solo down. Arctic's now caught directly in between Furia and the Expendables.
This is fun. 4 players for 3 teams, 1 player on Orchid. That's Arctic's. Grabbed that level 3 stuff and went for the ghillie, and still has that M249 Clories.
Oh, Clories?
Clories, hello?
Clories?
Oh, you can't see him in the hills there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's right up next to the sprinkler as well, and that makes it really complicated. Arctic's clinging to life. Note the fact that we have 5th, 6th, and 7th all still alive. 84, 82, 81, and remember our cutoff to directly go into the grand finals is 5th place. Big firefight brewing for all of these squads.
This is going to be easy for the Expendables to forget about that somebody could be here. This is a hard position to realize that you didn't check when you're running around because it's a field. You just assume you've seen everything. There's probably not anybody over here. That solo player, there's so much space behind you. Maybe they wrapped in back there or something like that. Or they're tucked in one of the shacks or some kind of little doodad on the map. Turns out that one is right in the middle of all of them.
We see this one in Americas all the time across different regions. It's just such a little sneaky spot to hide in. And Arctic's is just waiting his time, especially the fact that he has the ghillie suit. That makes it so much more like stealthy in that point. It's because you walk by, you just see the grass, you think it's fine, continue on your way. But it looks like the Expendables and Furia are going to be closest to each other. But the Freaks have started wrapping in from the south on an eastern lay, and that means that Furia is going to be the pinched team.
Yeah, they want to contain Furia, force them to fight the Expendables, or at least open up an opportunity for that the Expendables try to third party from above. A little bit of damage done by Salute. Doesn't want to re-aggress onto that. Yeah, and here go the Expendables.
I mean, all it takes is just a couple of shots, and they're like, oh, that's where the targets are that we really wanted. Luis pretty much got center control. Circle for the time being. We're only number phase 6, remember guys, so this could slow down a bit. There's no need to really bite off too much just yet, but the Expendables are part of the circle and they want to make it a lot more active. Actually, they're part of the entirety of this next circle. Arctic's not in it, so that means he's going to have to be sneaky and find a new home.
Yeah, could very well be the Expendables' 4th chicken dinner here in the group stage. Furia has a decision to make. Do we try to roll south? Do we try to just fight the Expendables? I think fighting the Expendables is probably the better option. Going to fight the Freaks is just going to open you up to the Expendables angles. So just take the team that's going to have the best opportunity to deal with you anyway. See what you can get done. No matter how you cut it, though, it is very difficult here for Furia. As you can see, the Expendables are keeping their eyes on him, but they're hitting some good shots.
Look at the approach. I mean, Calories is already in a gatekeep position. High ground for the other members for the Expendables to work with. Delwyn's holding a new angle just to make sure that the Freaks don't wrap around anywhere crazy. Furia, they have to push this hillside, or they can kind of move a bit more to the south, but that puts them in a valley position that is really terrible and will be instant death. there's not a lot of good ways to get into this circle except for just brute force. And to line up against the Expendables and brute force is so complicated. The Freaks are loving this. Both squads to just kind of burn meds and let the attrition war go in their favor.
And you never know when Arctics might strike. I mean, this might be what wins the Freaks the games here, is if he gets some serious damage into the Expendables, gets them out of this high ground, and reduces their numbers.
It could just be how Furia gets into the circle.
True.
If he just pops at the proper time, suddenly the Expendables are in so much trouble because Tanvu and Duck Juice are right on top of each other. Blue zone right on top of the tail end of Furia. Gizera's playing right next to it. Got to be careful, and Tanvu's going to run down the hillside. This is going to make it even dangerous. Seen down blue zone on top of him. Tons of blue zone nades.
Oh,
Just cooking. He is out. Zakraken having to run in front of it. Finally getting very close to the safe zone, but you can see so much utility coming out. While this is going on, the Freaks actually pounce on the backside. They spot out Delwyn.
That's huge for the Freaks. That opens up a lot of extra space to take some hill control here safely. Zakraken trying to do what he can, but Tanvu has gotten danger close and looking to press forward. Another res going to be attempted. That's a beautiful molly there right on top of him, and they're able to light him up. Ready for the adjustment of the position, and here comes Arctics.
Sneaking out. Could pop up at the worst time. Tanvu caught up in the fight with Posa. Peeks between Zakraken, just sins to see if maybe he can get some type of explosion that'll turn it back around. Kalori's Duck Juice having to line up against the Freaks. That's going to open them up to Posa. There's no clean angles for the Expendables to work with, and they've had to surrender so much of the circle. It's just on a Tanvu. He has to control the angle for Furia while he has Arctics just waiting to stab him in the back.
Oh, Duck Juice got up just in time. Salute kind of did a double take there. Oh, Posa's down. The Expendables.
They're holding it, both sides, finding the rally that they needed. Tanvu takes a ton of damage, though. This is going to open up so much more. Arctics just waiting. Meds in front. He's paying it so slow. Is it going to be enough? Finally, Arctics opens up. Tanvu down.
Unbelievable. Arctics might be able to win this game. Human finally finishes off the Expendables, but it's just him in heaven.
2v1. Arctics charges the circle. Human Heaven have no idea where he's at. Arctics running right into Human's position. He heard the firefight. The nade goes a bit too far. That's going to give at least the Freaks something to work with.
The Freaks here need to find a way that they can guarantee a trade, even if Arctics finds the knock, and Arctics going to reposition. They knew he knew where he was at. Did they see him? Yes. He's in trouble now.
Two different angles. He's outside the new safe zone. Freaks just surrender the angle, saying, no, we know how you have to approach this. We're just going to go try to see if we can set up a crossfire. Arctics trying to see if he can get some utility out. Not watching to the left could be a big problem as there's some dancing going over there from heaven. Arctics creeps in. He is now inside the safe zone, just a foot in. Opts to go in the reload. Man, he's got near nothing to work with.
Those smokes actually give him some opportunity to make this wrap down this hill. Maybe that's all according to plan for the Freaks. They'd rather fight from the position they're in and force him down into that spot. Maybe them trying to bait it a bit. I'm not too sure, but for Arctics, he'll take that.
Human still watching the top of the hill. Heaven as well. Arctics trying to be as sneaky as possible. He is just full on espionage mode right now. This bit of a dip in the hillside does mean that there's a valley on the other side, and the other members for the Freak and Human can't really get good sight line on it. Instead, he's going to opt very wide to the east.
This is a huge fight because look at their placements. 5th right now for the Freaks, 6 for Orchid. Whoever wins this is going to be sitting pretty for going to that grand finals. The other one's going to be kicking themselves.
Just what does Arctics even have to work with? 39 bullets is not a lot whenever you just pull the trigger on that gun. Goes for some type of shot that's going to reveal 2 different spots. At least some information on the other side. Can't connect down to 27. Just trapped on point. No good peeks. And you can see now on the other side of it, Human has that tree to go for a more aggressive peek on Arctic. Still not done. Realizing maybe he can sneak that other angle. Wants to try to go for the hero play. Peeks the gets a lot of damage out.
Doesn't matter though. Heaven can still heal. He's at the edge of the blue, looking for some opportunity, but there's just not enough ammo for him.
I love the heart in the play though. Tries to go for it until the very end, but it is going to be the
that was really nice.
big victory for themselves.
No, that is a huge breath of fresh air for the Freaks, who are just clinging to life at that 5th position and looking to get a much bigger lead. The bad news for them is it's the team right behind them that was in 2nd.
And big shout to Arctics, man. He stole so many points for his squad in that game and kept it really competitive in just what has been a back and forth leaderboard that is just neck and neck the whole way through.
Yeah, that was a hero play and so well thought out there to wait as long as he did, to not move a muscle, not give up anything. He had opportunities to get free points against the Expendables, but just kept waiting.
Eyes on the prize all the way until the end.
That was nice.
DNF are the real deal as they come away with the big win. Fought desperately by Orchid to try to stand his ground, but with 39 bullets and no secondary weapon, it just was not meant to be.
Yeah, we obviously have to praise Arctics for a salvage game like that. Obviously had to lay low, but still, he took down Tanmu.
Yep.
He waited at the correct time to ensure that his team got a second place and a kill or two extra. That's fantastic for them. But yeah, Freaks jumping off. This is going to be huge for them. Jumping up into the high 90s here. This is going to ensure them a spot inside the top 5 currently.
Yeah.
But still, it's not done for them.
It's not done for them, but I'll tell you who it might be done for. T1 had another great game. They look good, constantly finding points every single time. Are you willing to say that you think they're secure at this point?
I think we're looking at a 25 to 30 points down to 6th place, and really that 6th place is going to have to pass multiple teams, right? So it's looking good right now. Honestly, for me, this is the big one here. Once we get into the, wildcard maps, if you're able to get some points from that you're not kind of expecting to, your average is going high, that's going to be massive. But then again, it's just so lucky that Expendables and Twisted Minds are finding each other, delaying these two top massive monsters of teams. And, well, at this time, obviously, Expendables came in and got a good amount of kills, but still, they're delaying each other. Imagine if we had Twisted Minds on one side, Expendables on the other side, just crushing the lobby in a sandwich. That would be absolute terror.
Oh, yeah, there are the defending PUBG Mobile champions. I will say, I thought it was fascinating that they both took the exact same strategy, going to the Southern Island, leaving one sort of flyer to keep an eye on the rest of their team swimming, and it just seems the Expendables are better swimmers than Twisted Minds.
And if it wasn't for the delay on Twisted Minds coming in later, that could have been more kills for Expendables, right? You can just see that angle of approach. That ensured Expendables 14 kills, and I think it's going to be 4 placement points, or 3 or 4 placement points. No, 4 or 5 placement points, because, so it'll be a huge game for them.
Now, it was an interesting circle because it was the exact same, essentially, in how it starts from the previous game, which for teams like Orchid, who are desperate to find points and really kind of get to that top 5, that's pretty tough for them. That was a recovery that was, I think, pretty impressive by Arctics because they had to come all the way from the north side of the map for a second time in a row. That's got to be a little bit frustrating if you're one of those teams that's in the chase. Expendables walks away with 19 points off the back of that one as the rich continue to get richer. Freak's going to get 15. T1 still looking strong with another 15-point get. Orchid, despite the long rotation, will walk away with 11.
It's rare to see the third-place teams be a team that only got 1 placement point. Look at that, 14 kills for T1. They looked amazing for this. Also, of course, Expendables 14. Those two teams together, 28 kills out of the kills available. Obviously, let's take those two teams away. That's only going to be 56. So they got half of the points available, not because you're not killing them.
You're not killing each other. I mean, you did some fun math in there that I lost track of, but I think I agree completely with you. I will also
agree.
Look at that! 5 with no placement points. Here's the overall standing. Expendables going to be in the front with no questions whatsoever. Defending PGC champions. Oh, thank you very much. Looking beautiful at 141. Twisted Minds at 116. T1 feeling good at 112 as they continue to climb that board. Freaks firmly in 4. And Arena off the back of some incredible Jacob plays over the last 2 games are now at 92 total points.
Yeah, so Expendables, Grat, you're into the finals here. Let's see who's are the teams that you're going to be destroying, because you have 4 more games to have fun and maybe focus on some of the teams that's going to be going on in the bottom.
Now on the bottom, when we talk about that cutoff, 61 right now below goes home. 73 is the 9th place position. So there is just barely 12, 13 points. That's not even one game's differential between saving yourself a trip home and possibly risking getting knocked back into that spot. So those teams, Alcocia and 4 Angry Men in particular, I feel like it's affecting some of those rotations we're seeing from them. They're scared to take those risks because it is just so dangerous at this point.
For sure, and for JDG, like we're looking at, out of the 4 last games we have here, we're looking at 2 wins for them, otherwise they're going home. EK needs a big game. Genji needs a big game. The teams close to the bottom here, we're looking at 6, 7, or 8 teams that are trying to survive, trying to stay away from that bottom 3, which is a ticket home directly here after our group stage finish.
It's funny to say Genji needs a big game after having gotten a chicken dinner already here today, but that is just how crazy it has been and will continue to be, because we have 4 games left before we decide which 5 teams go straight to the grand finals and which 3 go straight to the airport. We'll be back after this short break.
Fueled by the same passion as esports athletes, Zowie continuously develops tailored products, empowering gamers to bring their best out. Today, we are launching the all-new XL2566X Plus, which uses the newly developed Fast TN panel and upgraded Diac 2 technology. The new monitor series continue to evolve, refining details to ensure players can perform their best consistently in games.
That's me. And you're probably wondering how I ended up here. Well, it's pretty standard. Check this out. Music player in my chest. It's powering up my new robot arm. Whoa. It's making everything sync up with the beat. Let's rock. This is awesome! Vandalay Technologies isn't just coming from my arm. They're after all of us. That's the defect!
What in the hell am I looking at?
The name's Chai, not Defect.
Is this the guy?
We'll take down this company. One boss at a time. Just so you know, they're insane.
I'm here, baby. Hold on, did you just feel that? That beat? Ready for more?
the one I'd been waiting for. In Dinkum. Find adventure in every direction.
Two similar circles back to back have opened the door of opportunity for several of our squads. Seen a couple of these squads step in and really see what they can get out of it. Gen G, Freaks both, big games. While the Expendables made it in the stage late last time, we've kind of seen Twisted being pretty quiet so far.
Yeah, Twisted's kind of been on the outside looking in of a lot of these circles, trying to find ways to figure things out. This time, they try a different approach. They get caught by the Expendables doing something a little bit uncouth.
Oh, no.
As that's pretty credible. But for our two teams that got the chicken dinners, they needed them desperately for very different reasons. For Gen G, it was to try to avoid elimination here at PGC. And for the Freaks, it's to maintain their spot to go directly to that grand finals.
I get big respect to Arctics. That was some really important points that he managed to rally for his squad, just playing so sneaky, holding into a good point. And I mean, the Expendables were playing from a winning position, and he popped up at the exact right moment to really spin this game on its head.
No, you're right. He couldn't have read that situation better. I mean, the poor guy, just if he had a few more bullets.
Like, look at how many teams that they're cheering for. There's no end to it, and that's why I love this audience so much.
Oh, and when the players were coming back in as we get ready to go into Tago for our third game of the day, when the players are coming back in, the crowd's just going nuts. They're chanting for their different teams, like absolutely incredible.
Well, it is time to Tago, ending up around Wolfsong up at the start of this one. Ending up around the start, I know, words are good.
Yeah.
And then we go all the way down to the southeast as, yeah, give me that Porsche. Also, that video coming in with the PUBG United.
So sick.
That was pretty sick.
Just give me that old school PUBG theme.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's just every time I hear it, it's just goosebumps. Love it, love it. Well, a pretty relatively fair plane path. I mean, the airport shipyard, a little bit out of reach early, but everything else pretty much good to go. So the normal drops in play. I think, yeah, I was going to say Gen G is backed off of Buksansa, so that should be solely available for QAD. And is there going to be anything else? A lot of teams getting off late on this plane path.
Evan Pochon, Irina, I think that going opposite directions. Evan Pochon and Gen G have a member that's pretty close to each other, probably jockeying for a car, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty calm outside that is. Looks like 4 Angry Men are going to stretch past Al Kadzia like you were talking about. I think it's just really Flame and Star-Lord being close to each other. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that might result in some early skirmishes is the ones you've mentioned here, Matt, is Star-Lord and Flame being close to each other, but Flame pulled off. Star-Lord looked like he got the better drop. And 4AM being somewhat close to Al Kadzia early, which I assume 4AM wanted to go Kongnung. A pretty fair circle. southern shifted, so going to be some parts of the map that you and I haven't gotten to see much of here.
Yeah, okay, so center point of this circle, going to kind of be favorable for Al Qudsiya, but that's got a high ground position. It's going to get a lot of vision down into the lower section, specifically into the south and to the west. We do have a couple of city locations and points of interest that a couple of these squads are going to be playing around and jockeying for positions, but nothing crazy. Actually, Namiga and Al Qudsiya, I think, were maybe getting close to each other for a car. I don't know who got it. I think Al Qudsiya, maybe? Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
And that's going to leave Gedrox all by himself. But I don't think that he has any guns, so Cowboy's going to be running away while he's getting shot at. But Gedrox probably doesn't have too much ammo to work with.
Yeah, I mean, usually if you're able to get that car early, you're pretty good to go. Heaven going to be the man of the match there. Just 3 kills, but was part of that duo that secured the win. Him and Gumin doing a good job. A lot of grenades being used here by Evan, not to decent effect, not quite 700 damage. So I got to call that great for 32 grenades.
Look, sometimes you just throw nades to get somebody to move.
That's
or
true.
Scare them. So I'll give you some respect on that one. That said, the throw to damage ratio, not the best.
Yeah, that's okay though. You're still doing pretty well here as the Freaks. You're up into 4th. You're actually 2 points ahead of E-Arena now. So it's not comfortable at all for the Freaks. They have to continue to frag out. I think T1 probably getting pretty close to being okay. They're at 112 points. Let's hear from our Game 1 winners. Orca's got something to say.
And now we are here with Orca from Genji. So congratulations on your first chicken dinner. But you guys were in such a really risky spot. But now things seems to getting better now. But I would like to ask about what change that you make.
일단 첫 번째 치킨 정말 축하드립니다. 젠지가 사실 조금 위험한 순위권에 있었는데 요즘 이제 다시 경기력이 되게 많이 올라오고 있는 것 같아요. 혹시 어떤 변화가 있었을까요?
게임을 조금 더 쉽게 풀어나가려고 하는 것 같고 형들이 많이 도와주고 있어서 쉬운 것 같아요.
We're finding ways to make our gameplays more easier, and my teammates, my brothers, are helping me a lot.
Wow. All right. So let's cheer them up, Genji.
Easier? I mean, you know, there's that first game, looked pretty good. They're 3 points away from Al Qudsiya.
They got a lot of points, so anything to make it easier than where they were at, right?
That's exactly it. I mean, you know, kind of saying, we just need to kind of play relaxed. I think maybe part of the idea here for Genji, you know, even though you're in a tense situation as far as the leaderboard goes, sometimes you can't really think about that too much.
So we're in a weird spot whenever we look at the Expendables at 141. The question for this lobby is really how many points does the Expendables take away from everybody else at the end of the day?
Yes.
We know that the squad can pop off big and really just stack up a ton of kills. So if we keep seeing them sponge up at the top, Twisted started off a bit slow. That's allowed T1 to get a lot closer, but we still have the drop off down to the Freaks, making 4th and 5th just that much more vital and bouncing between the two. E-Arena off of their games have at least managed to get 7 points of separation away from Orchid, but then it's just back into the pack again, all the way down.
For sure. I mean, it's getting to the point where maybe only a few teams really have hopes of being into that top 5. Orchid, Furia, Namiga, maybe Sharper, maybe FN if they have some explosive games here in our middle maps, but it's going to take some work for sure. The consistency of some of those squads, and with how hot especially E-Arena has looked so far, their mechanics look really on point, decision making looks pretty strong, so it's a lot to ask for these teams that are outside of that top 5.
I've been getting a bit more nervous for 17 and Al Qudsiya. They're not finding success in those first 2 games. They know that they're in a cusp position. It's just going to get more dangerous, especially whenever you have Genji, the team that's down at the bottom, starting to pop off, find points, now getting in like touching distance of finding you on the leaderboard. Al Qudsiya knows that they've got 3 points of separation. That's nothing in this game.
No, I know, and I think Al Qudsiya there, just their eyes got a little too big in that previous game when they saw those knocks that were close to their compound when they reached out to go for them, weren't thinking about the possible angles that other teams were going to have into them, and they paid the price for it. So it just kind of, an odd mistake for Al-Qadsia. I mean, I get the idea. I totally do.
Side, they have to go for this.
I totally get it.
Two different teams that are going to be collapsing on them if they don't.
No, you're absolutely right. Just flipping a car there, pretty funny. But no, I totally agree that you have to go for that. I think just maybe thinking about the approach a little bit more before you kind of fully commit to it, maybe. But at the end of the day, you know, there's still plenty of opportunities for Al-Qadsia. As we have a glider up in the air. I think that's Orchid, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, indeed. Flame is looking for something. I don't, you know, suspect that he's going to be able to connect much. It's pretty hard to hit those gliders, and sure, you can soften the glider itself up, but getting hits on the pilot, it's pretty tricky.
Just driving barefoot up in the sky. You know his feet have to be so cold.
Yes.
Kraken?
It would be freezing.
Al-Qadsia? So Kraken's in the hunt for trying to get the top 5, while Al-Qadsia is just trying to survive, and this could spell doom for Al-Qadsia if they're not careful. Look at Furia starting to set up. Remember, Al-Qadsia, this is kind of their home where they dropped at. While taking some damage, but it's going to be from Namiga.
Yeah, this is a little bit awkward for Al-Qadsia. They've revealed their position to a couple different teams, and there's no, you know, compounds for them to work with here. It's all open space. Rocks, yes, you're top of the hill, but, you know, rocks and trees is what you get to play with. So a little bit of a reposition from Rello. Roth is currently holding on his own. That seems to be kind of the general direction that Rello is drifting, but looks like they're going to commit to more of a 2-2. Leave the two young guns up on the north to lock down Furia.
Well, this is peeking around, and oh, JDG flips a car, bad time. Cold, what you got? Oh,
missed.
That is just JDG in a nutshell.
Just not their day. Just not their day, and they have to be pretty careful here because FN is still sitting inside of Songam, and they're getting a little close, but I think they're just going to drive around the coast and avoid the city if possible. Sharper is one of our later teams because they drop by Hey Musa and Wolsung, so they're going to be coming in, but T1 also coming in late by them. Now Thunders gets a view of this, so he's going to be able to relay that over. Good news, I guess, for both teams, you could say, is that T1 seems to be peeling away.
But where does T1 go? Twisted's going to be on the other side. Some shots coming out just to secure territory. T1, though, we often see them do this more, I guess, aggressive run between two squads pretty early. And oh no, that's a very nice crate, very close to Twisted. That could start finding them a lot more points on the day.
Ooh, Heather taking a couple points of damage, but actually going to be A-OK. Perfectic's going to be the one to look over. Who's going to grab the Lynx if I mean, it's so early in the game for a Lynx because you have such limited ammo with it. But maybe Perfectix just says, yep, screw it. This gun's too good. Can't pass it up.
Eyes on a couple of moving factors here. T1 did find a good stop-off point. They're about the only moving factor other than Sharper, just the other side of Ouyang, away from them. We do see 17 opted to an emergency pickup. Circle does go south, and Roth rolls right next to Zakraken, who's been just in cover for so long. Now Zakraken out.
Every one of these points so valuable, but the angle here is so good. Oh, they're fighting on a couple different fronts. A little bit tough here for Al-Qadsia. They need these points.
Roth just has to jump out. They need to secure this. This is the second time now today that we've actually seen Al-Qadsia get the first kill of the day.
Twisted. Tulins is driving close to this. Roth.
T1. They're also approaching from the other side. It's everybody just chasing down into Al-Qadsia's position right now, and this is going to be really bad. They're just entirely contained. Roth's going to go down. Ian spots him easy. D now down as well. Al-Qadsia in tatters, just down to 1, sitting in 12th place.
Oh, that's brutal for Al-Qadsia. They only get 2 points out of it to get ahead of 4 a.m. Now Perfectix getting lit up as they're taking a fight against T1. EN down. He's been the danger man for T1 here today. Type has to worry about that Lynx, that grenade right in front of Perfectix, or excuse me, Example.
Hell am I bad taking shots at Furia, who wants nothing to do with this firefight. They are just running away from the point, and I don't blame them. T1 Twisted up on top. It's going to be second and third respectively. Just 3 points difference between them. Good shots come out from Perfectix, and he gets raining down.
Oh, he was so ready for that. Type not going to get there. In just sprays his teammate down. Not sure what happened there,
but the blue chip so that way he could run.
That's probably what it was. I think you're absolutely right.
They didn't want to stay there for long enough to go for the res or even the pickup. Just grab the blue chip, get out of dodge. They're actually leaving the circle. Lou's chasing after. I don't think too much is going to be presented. This has also gotten really weird because the red zone's going to be on top of T1 in their retreat. And now T1's going to have to go way wider than they wanted to.
Yeah, there is a res station not too far away, though, from T1, so they can angle the one that's kind of out in its own little compound there. Should be free. Twisted Minds takes 2 points. Looks solid in all of their exchanges and decision-making there, playing that edge very safely. T1, gets the 2 kills, but they should be able to go for the revive. And indeed, well open. I don't see anybody on the map, so I think they are pretty safe to make this happen.
Just phase 2, and sometimes I do like how fast they executed off of that. Like, the moment that they saw him go down, they were like, nope, just go for the kill, finish it off. We'll finish it ourselves, just so that way he's not bait and throws off the timing. I mean, beautifully done. Now they're going to be coming into the circle pretty late, but if they come south of Oyang, there's a couple of compounds that they can play from. It's just going to be really hard to scout this out.
For sure. And, getting some kind of loot here for their fallen comrade when they get back in is going to be a little bit tricky too for T1. There's not going to be much that's inside of the circle that's available to drop on and scoop stuff up, and Twisted still hanging around those corpses up on the hillside. So a lot of work to do for T1. Not going to be as easy, I think, as the previous game's revive, but they've shown that they're really adept at adapting.
Fury having a similar idea on the, far west, going to Hosan. Well, actually, no. This is going to be down next to Fish.
They have players in Hosan, too. You're not wrong.
Yeah. I just glanced up and saw Gizera is right next to a revive station. Thought it was him.
Well, that's interesting for Fury. Yeah, they're going to be in a similar predicament, though. Circle closes in right on top of the Expendables, who've got crates galore on top of them, too. They're just...
Oh, no.
They're just feasting.
The Expendables with a ton of crates. This is also interestingly timed. I'm curious if they did this as maybe if they thought that they needed to get out of the point, or if they also just wanted to throw off the timing for the other emergency pickups.
That's a good question. That very well could be it.
They're so centered. I mean, I guess in case it did a hard shift, you'd be fine, but...
Yeah. I mean, in case you want to go, like, way west or something, like...
Go coastal,
coast.
Come your way back in, but...
Yeah.
17... has a lot of friends in Twisted. Xiaowu does not want that to happen. This hillside going to be surrendered quite quickly. Well, I guess Xiaowu's at least going to retreat somewhat. Not going to go too far too fast just quite yet.
Yeah, fortunately for 17, they're able to get Xiaowu out of there. 17 is not safe from that bottom 3, so they need to play it smart, keep Twisted from their backside.
Well, that using raining to get some scouting on compounds below. Freaks down to the southwest around Songam. They're going to have Furia pretty close. Well, some of Furia, half of Furia, I guess the way to say it. Songam's kind of focal point for a lot of our teams, as we do have F and Pochon on the outskirts of it. JDG is going to be just to the north of them. Orchid going to be to the north of the Freaks. And then right on the edge to the north, we've got Gen.G Duo as well as Geeke.
Yeah, just outside of grenade range here are JDG from Orchid, but under their gun sights. But now the Freaks, like you just mentioned, were in the vicinity, and they put a little bit of damage into Orchid, so that should give JDG an opportunity here to fortify their position. Yep, they're going to drop in the cover and kind of start using this a little bit to cut off Orchid's angles as best as they can. Had to use some smokes, though, so that's going to be a little bit of util down, and Corey's just dusts Xiaowu at range.
That's a pretty decent shot. The Expendables do have that high ground with a ton of vision, and with 17 having to retreat down the hillside, it just opened it up for the Expendables to start raining in damage. Territory control on high point for the Expendables is very scary for the rest of this lobby, man. I don't know how you come off that hillside.
Oh, no. That is the absolute last thing anybody wants to see in this lobby. I was kind of curious if Twisted was going to maybe try to punish that knock, if they kind of suss out what had happened over there, but not going to happen. T1 has to make a move against Namiga. Oh, God, Clories.
This is after 17, I'm assuming?
Has to be.
So they've got the duo down low. I think they're just trying to get out. That's going to be pretty close to where they were, but it's enough to now force them back to the north. T1 right up next to Namiga with the knocks between the two. It looks like Heather was trying to see if he could get a flanked angle, but Leosh on top of the building spots it.
Yeah, this is a very difficult breach to make, and oh my god, that circle shift right towards FN. Nemiga has to get off the top of the house. Took some grenade damage, nothing serious. T1 at least able to breach.
But this is a problem. Nemiga wants to try to retreat from position. Looks like they wanted to try to secure up their defenses before they had to go, but Twisted is going to cut off any escape path. They've got multiple members lined into position. Ian continuing to rain in damage onto Nemiga, but I don't think either one is expecting all of Twisted just to be waiting to pounce.
Yeah, love this from Twisted. They can just do a little bit of oversight of this fight. They know it kind of has to happen, especially with the hard shift. Both teams are just going to be hungry for these points. T1.
Here's the angle. Good read by Leosh. Gets Ian down.
That was a really nice read. That's going to slow T1's roll just a bit. Grenades are looking really good. Ian in trouble. T1 starting to falter.
Type is wrapped around to the south. He hasn't gotten an angle into any of this yet, but look at Twisted just encroaching everywhere, funneling everybody into the points that they want to go for, waiting for the moment. Type tries to line it. Perfectix gets some good damage on one side of it. Type just can't get the damage he wants to protect his teammates. Now the last one up. Other side of this, you can see it's going to be Geeky and Furia in a firefight.
This is huge. This has a ton of implications for both of these teams. Furia still in the hunt, maybe. Type down, T1 gone. Not able to fully recover there. Nemiga being pounced on by Twisted. Geeky and Furia both need these. It's a Panzer there that hits Spyro.
17 did an emergency pickup. They're going to be landing right on the other side of this if they opt into playing it aggressive. Already getting some vision. 7-7 managed to get the knock onto Zakraken.
Yeah, Furia down to their last couple of players here. PWD, the only one alive. He's got a shotgun. Thinking about sticking the res there. As Molly's going to the house, they do connect on a Quizzy, so he'll be flushed.
You can see on the north, we've got 4 Angry Men going for the Expendables high ground position on one side, Genji on the other. Expendables having to make sure that they defend over into the east. That's opening up a new path for Twisted to run in right back behind 4 Angry Men.
Yeah, 4 Angry Men taking such a good fight here against the top team in the lobby. They've already got one down, one on their knees, looking for more. They're just going to keep pressing forward. They have to with Twisted on their backside.
Nade goes out, wasn't underhanded, so just going for a peek around the smokes. Can we see at range Delwyn provide the support that he needs to? At least some utility. Duck Juice just peeking around the smokes. He's going to go down. Delwyn the last one up and on the hunt. Twisted back behind this. Longs has to defend. Takes a nade. He's going to go down. 4 Angry Men managed to take down the Expendables, but now are just getting piecemeal from behind.
I love this from Twisted. Just ruin everybody's round. They are equal opportunity offenders. Shen will find Clories. That's big points for 4 AM. Puts them one ahead of Alcad Zia. 17 losing players to shotguns. PWD looking for more.
Jalby doesn't want to go for the peek against that. Now he's just holding this angle, waiting for reinforcements, seeing if maybe a 7-7 on the other side can reinforce something to work from. Xiaobei's just kind of trapped here. The circle has left this point, and the Freaks are already rallying to gatekeep.
Yeah, this is, no matter what happens here, probably death for either 17 or Geeky. Diffix still not fully out of this. They're looking for a res. Delwyn, hello?
He's just joining the party. He wants more points. Nurens is actually going to be the one that gets knocked onto Shin. Finally, we do see Delwyn go down, but it is just everybody stacking bodies in that spot.
And Amiga goes down. The Expendables go down. Geeky may be going down here shortly. That shotgun looking to do more. Only got about half. PWD, though, takes a bunch of bullets in response. 7-7 just holds it down, finishes the job.
17 finding some very needed points, reaching up after Sharper. Sharper on a roll of their own. They're sending it very close to the Freaks, actually just right up into the face. They're trying to take this position right next to Heaven. They're rolling in, but it's going to be Salute that gets the knock onto Thunders.
Yeah. Getting ready with the grenades here as well. Have to throw some smokes to offer an opportunity for the rest of the Freaks to get into this fight. Grenades deep, cars gonna explode. Players are falling for Sharper left and right. Earth trying to rotate into the corner to heal.
But now 17 can use this and sneak up back behind the Freaks. Salute knows this. He's trying to keep an eye out for any tail-end members of that firefight. And so this puts Freaks kind of pinched between the two different firefights entirely unexpectedly.
Oh, but somehow they turn on it. DL is is ready. He's watching their backside. He's got a safe pair of hands here for the Freaks. And they might be able to get this res on a human right before he bleeds out.
That's allowed Salute to also regroup. Sharper has a moment of reprieve to work with as well. Over into the north, it's going to be Twisted continuing their rampage over their 6 kills. Eyes on Jin G's high ground position just to their west.
Yeah, being diligent now are the Freaks to make sure that 17 is clear behind them so they can continue their assault on towards Sharper. Xiaobei stunned up. They're going to go right through the window. Heaven, oh my God.
I love it. Freaks are playing with absolutely no fear right now. They feel like they've got all the money in the world to work with, and now it is eyes on to Sharper, who is still just trying to rally, and the Freaks will not let it happen.
The Freaks are getting a little help from Gen G towards Orchid. That's backed Orchid off of these angles they had to put damage into the Freaks while they were trying to assault this compound, but Sharper back up to 3 players.
Salute playing the outside, playing it slow. Jedi on the other side, peeks along the smokes, no clear vision yet. Twisted on their push after Gen G. E-Arena hears this firefight. Looks like they're trying to get closer to it. Orchid also has to use this moment to rally. Salute lines in and just demolishes Sharper.
Oh, Sharper, only one player. They're trying to figure out where the hell he went. He just runs past them. They jump by. He's got the shotgun, but only 2 shells.
No vision, walks right back out of the smokes into the waiting arms of the Freaks. New circle pops, and the Freaks got to continue, and it's going to be right next to FN Poncha.
Oh, man, the Freaks here are giving themselves a really nice chance to go directly to that grand finals. They're coming alive. Gen G doing some damage to Twisted. They've lost a player. And Twisted has only one knocked. Perfectix there, and they're looking to do some damage. Oh, here comes the Arena right on the backside.
Oh, can they? Does he know? He's trying to play around it. Does he know how aggressively they're coming after him? Opan's right up next to him, playing along in blue. Oh, it is all E-Arena reading it perfectly. Twisted in some trouble on the outside. Twisted is eliminated. E-Arena nigh unstoppable.
What a decisive strike here from E-Arena. They are going blow for blow with the Freaks, getting kills all over the maps. Absolutely brilliant stuff from them on that timing. And now Gen G has to play defense again.
Orchid just has to sit and watch as the lead just gets bigger and bigger into 5th. 87 into 100 into 103. Jin G in the meat grinder right next to E-Arena. JDG in the center of the circle. Freaks managing to get a bit of a foothold. Now you just got to fight your way out, and Opan's leading the way.
Yeah, they're in trouble now. They lost a player to Orchid too. Boostic able to find one, and Opan's actually going to skirt through the blue to try to catch somebody off guard. Flame just hiding in a smoke, praying, throwing out prayer grenades to try to do some kind of damage, but he is in a world of trouble.
Orchid at least starts to get some vision on E-Arena, realizing where the firefight probably has been going on. See if they can rally, take down E-Arena, find some points of their own to make sure that that leaderboard doesn't get too desperate ahead of them. Flame just trying to survive, can't even find anything. He's just still taking more and more shots to the chest and can't even find any way to get anything back.
Well, he's got a chance to do some damage, but yeah, no hope there. Was getting lit up by Artix from Orchid as well when he was on the ground, and E-Arena needs to stabilize. They're outside of this next circle.
104 to 103. Orchid eyes on E-Arena right now. Salute actually the one that puts down Nurins. Everybody's starting to rally after E-Arena, and the troubles are continuing to mount.
This might be the end of it for E-Arena. With all those players down, that opens up the window here for Lurix to let loose with the frag. He only had 2. There's going to be a flush, and there's the finish.
Orchid back in the hunt, moving to 93. Eyes have to shift over now to FN Pochan, making the push onto the Freaks. Freaks been loud and proud going after E-Arena a moment ago, but that's not going to be enough. Freaks go down, and it's going to be FN finding more points.
Yeah, Rex gets involved big time here, comes alive when FN needs him the most. Finds 3 kills in that fight, breakers for another. Team Orchid still doing their damnedest to put damage down, and they have been very good at it here in this game. They've only got 4 kills, but man, they have been just making everybody's life around them a nightmare.
JDG has a big opportunity, but Orchid wants to deny anything right now. Cold in the shack. Nade comes out. Orchid steps away from the nade. Doesn't want to run into it too desperately. Follow-up nade. It's going to be Boostic that gets the knock on to Cold. So open path for Orchid to the north. JDG's defensive line just doesn't have the way to handle with all these different variables that are approaching from too many different angles.
I like this, though, from FN. Get a player out there to harass Orchid. If you can get an extra player or 2 down, you're going to give yourselves a really good chance to get the chicken dinner here. JDG crumbling, falling apart at the seams. Not much that they can really do here, but is Orchid going to read? There's a couple players right near them.
Spaceman, last one up, just eyes watching. All of his players dying in front of him, but can't even really get into the circle. FN, Rex, high ground, so much vision onto Orchid. Orchid got into the circle, but they're going to have to deal with breakers, close range on one side. Spaceman now seeing if he can get into the circle, maybe get Suse back up.
Grenades are going to go just a bit too far. Arctics again, so sneaky with this position. It's going to avoid any serious damage. Takes a headshot from God only knows where. I guess that must be JDG. But man, oh man, you're looking good here for FN. You've got 4. If you could do some more damage to Orchid, you are going to be in a very good spot. Smokes are going to dissipate here eventually for JDG, and they're going to be in trouble.
Okay, shots onto Orchid from 2, 3 different angles. And they are just right up against the blue zone. Too many problems. Spaceman's going to get the knock onto Lyrics. Here comes Rex, playing it aggressive, starting to drop nades pretty close to them. Well, it's all going to be onto Arctics. He's got to defend on one side while the other members try to see if they can rally and stop JDG on their push. Arctics have to deal with breakers right on the other side of this rock. Is he going to read the angle it's going to come from? Breakers just runs over the top, no fear. He's just trying to see if he can spot out anybody on the other side. Does spot out Boostic, gets some damage. Boostic goes down. Arctic still holding the angle, but doesn't bite just yet. Finally steps around.
Man, Arctics could not be better with his timing. It doesn't matter, though. Zenith was there to finish him off. JDG 1 player versus FN 3.
FN has control of the circle. JDG has to run in. Just 1 member up in Spaceman. No cover in front of him. This is going to be hard. Star-Lord to the south. Zenith in the middle, and Rex on top.
I don't think there's much hope for Spaceman. I don't know, he doesn't have any smokes. He's got a bunch of stuns, but there's nobody that he can even use them against, really. A little bit of smoke coverage for Star-Lord. Zenith tries to make a wrap. Got to get prone there. Get behind that little hill.
That's just a distraction, so Star-Lord can move forward along the smoke wall and get closer. Spaceman does get the knock onto Zenith. Is the cost going to be big enough? Spaceman takes a lot of damage now, just down to a 2v1. Throwables raining so close to Spaceman, but doesn't connect just yet. Couple of peaks, Star-Lord taking some damage. Spaceman trying to rally this together, but it's so hard. 2 different angles. Rex on top, now moving outside the safe zone just to get on top of him from a new angle. Spaceman has nowhere to go. He has to take down Rex just to get into the circle.
FN can just hold. They've got the circle. They've got the advantage. Eventually, the blue is going to do the job. They want the point. He's on his last legs.
Just trying to juke through, but FN Bochan does take it in the end. Big game for them.
Our team that came through big on day 1 gets a much-needed win here. And it's been all Korea all day.
JDG made it into the later stages, found some points. That's big for them. Is it going to give them enough? As you can see, they know so close, but so far.
The stress has to be mounting. I mean, they are a team that won the PCL in the last stage of the season. And now they are on the precipice of being eliminated here today. Only 3 more games to find a way out of that bottom spot.
This is just continuing to be bigger and bigger problems. Orchid managing to outsurvive the guys that were on top of them. Still has a bit of a jump just so that way they can try to be more comfortable, get into that top 5, try to get into the grand finals, get some more space. It's just so back and forth, and there's so many variables on this leaderboard. Top 5, bottom 3, everybody looking at last chance. This is just nuts.
Every fight matters. Yeah, every fight matters.
Everything just continues to come to a head over and over, and we still have 3 more to go.